Sarah had always known humans were considered weak by galactic standards. Fragile bones, thin skin, pathetic bite force, the list went on. But she'd never expected that weakness to become an asset. It started 3 cycles ago when she'd found Corin bleeding out in the lower maintenance tunnels of the Vraxian Academy station. The young Vrax, barely past his second molt, had gotten into a territorial dispute with an older student. Vraxians were apex predators on their homeworld. Bipedal reptilians with retractable claws and jaws that could crush steel. They were warriors, hunters, survivors. Corin was none of those things yet. He was a child, shaking and scared, trying to hold his torn abdomen together with claws too small to be useful. Sarah hadn't thought. She just moved, pulling the emergency medical kit from her belt and getting to work. Her hands were steady, even as Corin's 3 eyes had widened in confusion. Humans weren't supposed to approach wounded predators. That was Rule 1 of galactic survival. Hold still, she'd said softly, the way her mother used to when Sarah scraped her knees as a child. I've got you. The medical foam had sealed the wound. The analgesics had dimmed his pain. And when she'd finished, Corin had done something unexpected. He'd pressed his snout against her shoulder and made a low, rumbling sound. She later learned it was the Vraxian cub sound for safe. Now, standing in the academy cafeteria with Corin and 6 of his clutchmates flanking her like an honor guard, Sarah was beginning to understand the consequences of that decision. The cafeteria had gone silent. 300 students from 40 different species, and every single one of them was staring. Sarah, Corin rumbled, his translator rendering his words into perfect standard. It wasn't a question. The other young Vraxians, all between their second and third molts, formed a protective semicircle around her. Their tails swished in synchronized patterns that Sarah's xenobiology classes had taught her meant claimed pack member. Oh no. Corin, I appreciate this. But I usually sit with the herbivores? One of the other cubs, a female named Zrix, tilted her head. They scatter when we approach. You are too small to sit alone. This is unacceptable. Sarah wanted to explain that humans weren't actually that small, that she was perfectly capable of sitting alone, that she had friends. But 7 pairs of predatory eyes were watching her with an intensity that made her survival instincts scream. Instead, she found herself being gently but firmly guided to the Vraxian section of the cafeteria. The table was designed for their larger frames, which meant Sarah had to climb onto the bench. The moment she sat, all 7 cubs arranged themselves around her. Corin took the seat, directly to her right, close enough that his scaled shoulder brushed against hers. This is weird, Sarah muttered in English, hoping the translators wouldn't catch it. They did. Corin's head swiveled toward her. Weird how? I'm a human. You're Vraxians. Your species considers mine prey adjacent. Incorrect. Corin's tail thumped against the floor. You stopped my bleeding when I could not. You were not afraid. You made the pain stop. He paused, and his voice dropped lower. Mother says this makes you clutch mother now. Sarah choked on air. I'm sorry, what? Zrix leaned forward, her translator crackling slightly. You performed maternal duties. By Vraxian custom, you have claimed responsibility for Corin's survival. This extends pack bonds. I was just helping someone who was hurt. Yes. Another cub chimed in. A stocky male whose name Sarah thought was Threx. This is what clutch mothers do. The cafeteria's automated systems delivered their meals. The Vraxian cubs received large portions of synth meat, charred and dripping. Sarah's tray held a modest human-compatible meal, grains, vegetables, protein cubes. Before she could touch it, Corin's clawed hand shot out and pushed a third of his portion onto her plate. Corin, I can't eat that much. You are too small. His eyes narrowed. You need more protein. How else will you grow strong? Humans don't really work like... Zrix added her portion too. Then Threx. Within seconds, Sarah's plate was piled so high with food that she couldn't see over it. This is too much. I'll explode. Then eat slowly, Corin said reasonably. Sarah looked around the cafeteria. Every other student was still watching. The herbivorous Kelix delegation looked horrified. The crystalline Shen were flickering in what she recognized as confusion. Even the other Vraxian adults, the instructors and senior students, were observing with what might have been amusement. She took a small bite of the synth meat. It was, actually, pretty good. Spicy. The way the Vraxians liked it. Corin's rumble deepened, pleased. You see, he said to the others. She accepts the clutch offerings. The bond is confirmed. Oh my God, Syrah whispered. Over the next hour, she learned several things. First, being adopted by Vraxian cubs meant she now had an entourage everywhere she went. Second, said entourage took protection very seriously when a Kelix student accidentally bumped into her. 3 cubs immediately moved to intercept. Tails raised in threat posture. Third, and most importantly, cafeteria rights were apparently non-negotiable. This is my new reality, isn't it? Syrah asked as they left the cafeteria, her 7 shadows following close behind. Yes, Corin said simply. You are Clutch Mother. We are your cubs. This is how it is done. Sarah thought about arguing, thought about explaining human social structures, personal boundaries, the concept of too much. Then she looked at Corin's eyes, all 3 of them, and saw something that transcended species. Trust. Loyalty. Love. In the way a child loves the person who made them feel safe when they were scared. All right, she said finally. But you're all coming to my xenobiology study group. If I'm stuck with you, you're helping me pass finals. The cubs' tails all wagged in unison. Somehow, Sarah suspected she'd just made the strangest family in the entire Galactic Academy. But as Corin pressed his snout against her shoulder again, that same gesture of safety and belonging, she found she didn't mind as much as she thought she would. After all, how many humans could say they had 7 apex predators who'd follow them into a cafeteria line? The answer, she decided, was probably just her. And honestly, she could live with that.